You die. Plop. Your current mind goes to the most suitable universe, quantum immortality. Users of Reddit, what was your glitch in the Matrix moment? From OP Liquid Gold 83. I died last night, but I'm still here. So this actually happened last week. It just took me some time to come to terms with it. I got a phone call from my next door neighbor late in the evening asking if I can help him move a mattress into his upstairs. His mom is ill and has a big heavy sleep number bed. I of course ran over to help because they're great neighbors. I get over there and his friend, who is also a priest, was there to help. I helped them figure out how to separate the mattress from the bed so we could fit it upstairs. We get it all moved up and back in place when my neighbor asks if I can help them move an armoire upstairs too. I think nothing of it and we pull it out of his travel trailer and start bringing it up the front stairs of his house. This is where I died. The front stairs are 11 steps. I was on the lower end of the armoire about 6 steps up when my neighbor and his friend lose a handle on the armoire and it comes crashing down on me and I fall backwards towards the pavement. I then wake up in my dining room to my phone ringing and my wife asking me if I'm going to answer the phone. It's my neighbor asking me if I can help move a bed upstairs for his mom. I go over there and meet his priest friend again, as this has been the first time I met him. I say I can help with the bed but I cannot help with the armoire. My neighbor was like, how'd you know about the armoire? I then proceeded to tell them I'm pretty sure I just died. I spent the next hour talking with the priest. He had so many questions. My neighbor didn't believe it until I described the upstairs bedroom in perfect detail down to the metal mattress frame on the floor and the intricate headboard leaning against the wall, and I had never been upstairs in their house before. The priest asked me what I saw after I died. I told him I never actually died. Before it happened I woke up at my dining room table. TLDR. I experienced my death but woke up alive about 20 minutes earlier in my life. From user SockMcPuppet. This happened to me when I was about 18 years old, and maybe other times I'm less aware of. I have a group of friends who have all experienced their own death at least once and are aware of it. It seems to happen to many people. Here is my take on what's happening. At the bottom, this is a collection of all the stories I could find like this. My story. After a fresh light rain, I was turning onto an on-ramp and started to accelerate from around 40 miles per hour to about 70 miles per hour to merge with the high-speed traffic on the expressway. As soon as I touched the gas, my car swung around and I started drifting across 4 lanes of 70 miles per hour rainy traffic, facing the cars, as my car was now facing backward, sliding everywhere. I remember one guy giving me the finger as he flew past me. Then I remember horrible crunching, wrenching sound, and suddenly my car was moving back the other way toward the bridge side, over the highway I had just turned off. As my car slid back across traffic I was sure I was gonna slam into the bridge side and end on the road below. When I got the point where that would happen, there was another huge slamming, crunching, and then suddenly I was just stalled out on the on-ramp. Like I had driven up onto the highway and stalled/stopped in the breakdown lane on the bridge as soon as I got up there. I got out and looked at my car from all angles and there wasn't a scratch or dent or any evidence of what just happened. I remember there being a horrible explosive type of collision twice, but nothing. I just smoked a cigarette in the on-ramp/breakdown lane, called my parents and told them I loved them, and then went on my first date with my future wife. It was my weirdest experience. From user Dekubob's wife too. I had something kinda similar happen actually. I was really young, maybe 17 or 18, and driving with several friends in the car. It was raining and I was on the highway, going about 60 miles per hour. I was getting ready to merge from one highway to another, which was a pretty tight left lane curve to access. Well, we notice in the lane next to us a few cars ahead is another friend of ours. Like an idiot I decide to speed up suddenly to try and catch up to him so we can all get his attention. Of course my car loses control from the turn and the rain, and like you, we're suddenly facing against traffic and sliding across the lanes. There were so many cars all around us, this was a really busy highway. I was certain we'd slam into someone or something, but it's like they all disappeared. 1 second I'm screaming and bracing for impact, the next we're skidding to a halt on the shoulder, still facing the wrong way but completely unharmed. I was inches from the guardrail but didn't even hit that. None of us could believe it. From user Howdy Lil Mam. This happened to me too. One day, I sold all the furniture in my bedroom and replaced it with new furniture. Couple nights after I dreamt I woke up in my bed in the middle of the night, and I knew it was a recent thing because it had all the new furniture in. As I'm laying awake in my bed, in the dream, I see my mum creep into my room and make a shush motion with her fingers. We hear noise downstairs and she tells me there's someone in the house and she's going to check it out. I hand her a baseball bat and she goes downstairs quietly. I stayed in my room crouching in the dark scared because I knew she wouldn't come back. I woke up crying from that dream that night. Anyway, couple of days later it's nighttime and we have locked everything downstairs and gone up to bed. I'm just sitting on my bed on the laptop when my sister barges in and says, "Come quickly, there's someone downstairs, we have to hide." Mind you, it was just me and my sister, two teenage girls living with my 5'1" mum. We locked ourselves in my mum's bathroom, called police and neighbors, and then my mum suddenly grabs a decorative candle holder which was the only useful thing in the toilet, besides TPLOL, and she says they're probably gonna come up so it's best she goes downstairs before and we stay up here. I felt so much fear when she said she'd go confront whoever was there. I just started screaming and literally put myself across the door so she wouldn't go out, saying the police might get here and we still had a chance because they'd had to knock down 2 doors to get to where we were. Luckily, she didn't go and police and neighbors showed up, but the person who came in had left. He'd let himself in with a key through the front door. Afterwards, I remembered my dream and can't help but think what awful thing might have happened if she had gone down. Because the focus of the dream wasn't really the intruder but rather her going to confront him, so who knows. From user RT Most Foul. I had a precognitive dream once, long before the incident. In the dream I woke at the moment the blade entered my heart, and I forgot about it for over a year until one of the men following me stepped in a puddle, as he did in my dream. I told my friend to run and we ran. I was fat and using a cane, running was hard. I turned back to look as they chased us and saw the man who stabbed me in my dream drawing the hunting blade I felt kill me in my dream. I remember how it felt, so cold, so alien. We got away because they paused to throw glass bottles at the backs of our heads which missed. We got away because I ran into a strip club and refused to leave. The bouncer tried to remove me. I told him to call the police and through ragged breaths told him that he would be responsible for our deaths if he forced us out. The men were not found. This was in, I believe 2006, so pre-surveillance culture somewhat, in a dodgy part of town, and at the time, I didn't have a mobile phone. From user Kvatter 143. I think we die and our lives just continue on. I believe you 100% because it's happened to me on numerous occasions. First time when I was only in the 2nd grade. A teacher strangled me and I remember clearly dying. When I came to, she still had her hands around my throat and shoved me to the floor. The second time I was 21 and was learning to snowboard and I caught an edge and flipped forward and landed on my face and distinctly heard my neck crack as I fell onto my back. I came to and sat up, nobody ever even noticed on a mountain full of people. Third time I was snowboarding again, got off a lift and sat below the lift and didn't realize I was so close to the chairs and one of them hit me in the head and knocked me over. I came to and was further from the lift just putting my straps on. I can go on forever on the other occasions, but that was just a few examples. Always end up right before I actually died, so damn weird. From user Chip Chrome. Kind of a different story, told by my grandfather. So when he was way younger he was working at a copper ironworks as a leader. He was and still is a very smart man, never believed in the supernatural as far as I know. The story goes like this: it was October of 1974. He woke up feeling bad, knowing something was bound to happen. He was really cautious on his way to work, as it had heavily snowed the day before. When he got there, he met some people who were supposed to install a new smelter. He got angry, as no one really told him about it in advance. He is the kind of guy who has literally every aspect of his life in order, under control. So he went to his office and talked with his assistant about the whole affair, said he knew anything was off that day, and the assistant offered him a drink, 70s. The moment they poured one, the roof where he was supposed to be with the crew had collapsed. All of those guys died. My grandfather felt like it was that thing that he was expecting to happen. I know it's more of a bad feeling story, but it still sits wrong with him after all these years. Especially weird since his whole childhood was living near Auschwitz during the Second World War. But that's something he doesn't mention often. From user Walnuts. Welcome to our reality. I had an experience last summer while driving home from work. I got distracted by a phone call from a number I didn't recognize and my mind went blank while I was on the highway for about 15 minutes and I regained consciousness suddenly. I looked out the sides of the windows passing structures on the sides of the highway that were completely unrecognizable and I started to have a panic attack. I have taken this route home 5 days a week for 6 years and only then did something not seem right with my surroundings. The panic attack made me feel dissociated from my body, but I eventually came to terms with the notion that I might have gotten into a car accident and died. I just accepted that if I did indeed die there was no point in dwelling on it and I continued on my way home. Had another experience a month ago in my new home. I drank myself into a complete blackout but woke up suddenly in bed with a terrible hangover. I noticed again that something was off and I knew that there would be something different about my home when I looked around. Turns out it was a subtle change, but the light fixtures in the bathroom, which had always been black, were now brass gold. I brought this up to my partner who also said the fixtures were black, but I told him they're actually gold but I also thought they were black, and he became extremely confused as well. I have just learned to accept the changes at this point. Thank you for listening to our first Reddit Archives video. Tune back in for more mysteries, horror stories, and r/moments.